Hey there, fellow skeptics. Lester the Skeptic Tank here. Just gonna give you a quick rundown of some things I've been meaning to discuss that have been long in the back burner. And as many of you know, I've been in this recovery. It's gonna likely be. I'll play it safe and say it's a lifelong thing. Meaning that if at some point I'm off medication, great. If not, I'll be on medication for life. Such is life, and that's the lot I'm dealt. Make the most out of that. If I can make lemonade out of this lemon, great. If not, I'll figure something I can put in its place instead. So, that aside, I've been meaning to discuss something that's been on my mind for a while. That being what I've touched on in various live streams or member live streams I've contributed to or in this notion of the reboot, which had me jaded for a while with a lot of what's been pushed out by many studios. And on one level, in principle, I would say, why? If the previous iteration or the original iteration of this and that were good on its own merits, why try to reinvent the wheel? The other end or the other level, why do they do such a why do they do such a bad job in execution, design, and setup? So a lot of these reboots I've been teased over the years, I would say maybe decade plus, oftentimes left me scratching my head. And I don't need to go through the numerous titles where such rebooting tendencies have happened. Specifically, I want to take a peek at something that had slipped under my radar. And that is that Bruce Lee classic Fist of Fury, which I have on Blu-ray. I did have on DVD, and thankfully the recent acquisitions at the time were of the original Cantonese audio, and to be clear, to my realization, not Bruce's own voice, which was kind of a damper. Although I have to admit the dub has its place in that it can provide comic relief just by that alone. Because sometimes the jokes can come out better in the dub form than in the subtitle. For those who are native Cantonese speakers, there are certain, with any foreign language, there are various idiosyncrasies, nuances that unless you're a native speaker, you will not get when you hear it in the original language, in this case, Cantonese. Especially if subtitlers get it wrong. Because there isn't a real perfect translation out there when it comes to reading subtitles. So without further ado, I'm just going to I'm going to just use my browser, going to do a quick DuckDuckGoosing of Fist of Fury. So I'm going to go with the top result. And I think this is what I ran into first in my preliminary research. New Fist of Fury, I was graced with a friend of mine back in high school gave me a copy to watch. He let me borrow it. And this was probably a way to be a direct sequel. So that was cool. That was fine. Um, Not as memorable, and I gotta commend Jackie Chan. I don't know if this was this his debut. Let's see. It doesn't say in this article if this was Jackie Chan. No, it did. I don't think it was, but I gotta commend him for stepping in the shoes of Bruce Lee at the time, and then this one here. Okay, so this was supposed to be a direct sequel to Fist of Fury. Wow, they even did a third one. I don't think I even heard about this one. I saw this one on Netflix, I think it was, or Amazon Prime through the Hiya service. They HYAH. It's a subscription. I think it's $2.99, and this one has Donnie Yen, who also had done a TV series. So let me see if I can pull it out real quick. I hope I have it. Bear with me here. Oop. Apologies. All right, so I picked this up. I ordered it a while ago. This is Fist of Legend, which I think, in my own mind, this is a reboot done well. They did some change up with the storyline. The love interest was actually they did a good job in writing the love interest because she was of the other side. She was of the opposition, and the fight scenes are solid. Uh, the villain is pretty solid. Now, in further reflection of Fists of Fury, I have to say I did make a comment about uh, Way of the Dragon and the Warrior's Journey, that documentary, that redo of the Game of Death, or the rediscovery of the lost footage with those fight scenes. Those two movies were definitely going to be in my Bruce Lee collection. I will have to say Bruce Lee's Fist of Fury, the original Fist of Fury, that will have a place because in the final fight scene, and I may do a deep dive on some of the things I noticed across all of his movies, Bruce's movies, where a, a lot of the same moves are used in all of his movies, whether we're talking starting out with The Big Boss, then Fist of Fury, then Way of the Dragon, and then Enter the Dragon. And then, as far as this goes, this has a lot of what the original had touched upon, but a nice twist. And I think this will be one of the few times I'm going to just double check in terms of the audio. Oh, good. So I will have the opportunity to hear the Cantonese audio because I think I watched it dubbed. I believe it's been a while, but funnily enough, when it came to acquiring this, I was inspired by retro blasting. I think this store I got this from was Goodie Emporium, and nice thing about them is they offer pay in four via PayPal, and so I was able to get this in installments. I was looking for the series retro blasting cover with Cynthia Khan, I think it is. Um, the title series escapes my mind for a quick moment, but I was looking to get that and then saw it was already sold out. But I figured I would get something comparable, and so this is apparently a four. I believe it's 4K. When I saw it on the website, and I have yet to pop it in my Blu-ray drive and get it transcribed onto my storage device, and then we'll go from there. But yes, this is one of the things that I wanted to show off. Um, More recently, however, there were other things I picked up via my let's see here via my local Value Village. Bear with me here. So, and this one, because at the time I picked it up, it had a blue tag. I got this for half off, so it went from $4.99 to $2.40 something. I have not, and I honestly have not watched this yet. I've known about this movie growing up. I think my parents rented it one day via the Warehouse or Blockbuster at the time. I had to pick this up because let me do the honors on this one because apparently it's in shrink wrap, but you never know. I worked in retail before, and I've been asked to reshrink wrap product. So let me go ahead and work on that real quick after this one. And I did open the cases because I had an incident with Tropic Thunder where there was no disc. Oops. Uh, this movie I saw during a flight to Tokyo from Seattle. I watched a bunch of movies during that 9 hour flight um, out of advice from my younger brother who said, don't sleep. So I did what I could to stay awake from my flight to Tokyo, then making my way ultimately to the Philippines back in 2013. Fun little movie. I didn't think I would keep it in my collection on a personal level, in the sense that I would watch it multiple times. However, I don't know if my niece got to see this, so this will be one of the movies I'll travel with if I get to hang out with my niece, because She loves her video games. All right, so moment of truth. See if I'm fooled or not. Hmm. Well, it does have the seal, if you can tell. I don't know if that's a sign of a fresh DVD or a Blu-ray in this case. And again, thankful for shows like the Physical Media Show or 4K for You, featuring the likes of Fanzine and Tom Connors over at Midnight's Edge. Kind of nerding out on the various titles out there released and transcribed to 4K, because there is a, I don't know if I call it a divergence or a variance or not a consistency in how these titles are brought into the quality of 4K. And talking about the use of AI to make that happen and other means versus, say, using what they call using the proper scan. So, again, thanks to shows like that allows me to up my knowledge base when it comes to this stuff, because as they're kind of informing me and others, not all 4Ks are created equally. Just because it has a 4K stamp or HD stamp, it it your expectations will likely be tampered or tempered, in that don't expect what you see when you pop in the disc. It's not going to be, there's a chance it's not going to be mind-blowingly great. Probably more likely mind-blowingly ferocious, horrendous. So, yeah, so just word to the wise, just be careful. Just because it has that 4K label, just make sure what you're spending your hard-earned cash on. You kind of have to do your homework before you make that purchase. Sadly enough. And I think based on what I discussed about FOMO and the distribution model with streaming versus the theaters, you're going to ask the same question as far as, well, what about for the likes of me going out to the theater? Like I mentioned in my previous video about watching Deadpool Wolverine versus watching it in IMAX when I watched it on a standard screen. Okay, disc present, and yeah, it's kind of a nice sign that it had the little sticker seal. Wow. If it is a fresh Blu-ray for that much, according to the tag, it was only $4.99. I can't complain. All right. Hopefully that wasn't too long-winded, guys. Just a quick recap of what's been going on, what I've been meaning to show. I've been meaning to cover that, the Fist of Fury reboots. And I stumbled upon the Fist of Fury TV series that Donnie Yen did in the early 90s. So you had the big wigs trying to fill those shoes. Not sure how I felt about the TV show. It's there's my main thing is, where's the originality? So anyway, until next video, fellow skeptics, peace out, and I'll catch you all on the other side.